And it's time to do my introduction. So, joining us today is the Bob Father, Bob Vigna, legendary godfather of US New York death metal legends Immolation, here joining us on the podcast. Bob, welcome to Inner Strength Check. It is a massive, massive pleasure of mine to introduce yourself to the podcast. How are things going for yourself and the band at the moment, mate?
Good, good. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, things have been really good. We just did a big tour in February with Marduk and Mayhem in Europe, which was awesome. And phenomenal tour, great bands, know all those guys, and it was just a really good one. And I think the package was phenomenal, and a lot of people seem to think so. And yeah, it was just the bands, the fans. We all had a good one. It was awesome. And now we've past few weeks we've just been getting ready for, we got almost 2 months out on the road now. We're going to be doing obviously the Godless Four tour with Behemoth and Deicide and Riding Christ. But leading up to that and coming back from that, we have extra shows with Deicide and Riding Christ and a couple of things in the middle there as well. So it's going to be a long haul, but it'll be great because the new album comes out on the 10th, which is basically roughly when we hit the road. So it's pretty cool, and we're excited about it. So excited about the new record coming out.
Fantastic. And you guys have already been putting in the hard yards with the touring circuit this year too. I saw that run of dates is quite an extensive run of dates. I'm sure it's not anything you guys aren't used to this far into your career, but yeah, pretty impressive lineup for your touring schedule for the first half of the year and with an album release as well.
Yeah, yeah. It just happened to time out that way. Luckily, I mean, we did our best. We had to kind of race to the finish line to get everything done for the record toward the end of last year. Because all the writing started in March. I started writing a little bit in 24, but first song was put together in March of 25, and then just little by little adding to that, and then toward about early September, mid-September, we realized we had to get in the studio in October. So, a little rush at the end there to kind of more logistically than anything else. But yeah, got it done and just very happy with the way it came out.
So it's pretty efficient. I mean, considering the
We feel it's one of the best we've done in a long time. You know what I mean? It's just
mm,
sometimes things, I love everything we've done in the past, always, not to take away from that, but it's just that things just really came together that much better for this one. And it just, sometimes everything's aligned and it
mm.
really worked out for this one.
So do you feel that for this one, like the writing to basically production pipeline, it was just a lot easier this time round for you?
I wouldn't say easier. I just think it everything just kind of hits the nail on the head a little bit, maybe a little bit more than the last one. I mean, I felt the last one did at the time for sure. This one I feel surpasses that as far as just, the overall record, the way everything, the flow of the record, the sound of the record. I love the artwork. I mean, the artwork's always going to be, I like the artwork no matter what. So,
Oh, it's
so that's
phenomenal.
a given,
Ellie,
but I mean, he did a phenomenal. This one I do like better than the last one. He did a phenomenal job, Elron, on the last one, but this one just something about it is that much more just dark and just the feeling out of it and the way we have like the whole pull out piece, so you could see like the whole elongated descent, so to speak, and so yeah, and Santiago also did a really good artwork for the inside. So and yeah, I just think sound wise, everything about it just kind of like clicked really well, and yeah, we're super happy with it.
mm. So I've had a few listens to it myself, and it definitely is. I mean, it almost feels a little bit trite to both to say as a band, as a music reviewer, but it's true. I mean, you guys, it's an evolution on definitely on your formula. Like I'm hearing definitely new elements in the sound, but it's also classically immolation, which is unsurprising because you guys have been out on the press cycle saying that's what to expect from the new one. For you, Bob, being a mainstay of the band, did you have any kind of new creative influences in writing for this one, or did you just sort of kind of push your own envelope? What was your sort of process for the songwriting on this one?
Very similar to the last bunch of records, really. I mean, ever
Mm,
since I'd say Majesty in the K back in 2010, ever since I started writing uh, songs on the computer where I can be more creative and create full tracks with drums and overlays and double guitar tracks and everything. I wasn't able to do that in the beginning, and I think we were even late to the game in doing that. But then once I got in there, it's been a great experience and kind of the same way I do it every time, just creating parts and creating drums for those parts as far as what I feel, at least to, the actual feeling of it and everything, and trying to create how that would go with the riffs, and then maybe overlays, maybe solo stuff, whatever. But it's just creating a part and then putting it to the side, and then I just continue to build from there. And then, once there's enough parts and you feel like certain things go together, then, putting those parts together might kind of make you come up with something else and create something new for those things. So it's just kind of like, I always describe it almost like it's like a puzzle that you don't know what it's supposed to look like yet, and you're taking all the pieces and trying to see where they fit. And then it kind of reveals what it becomes, because there's no idea of what it should be until it's absolutely done. And that goes up until like the time where getting the mixes from Zach. He's emailing us mixes, and as he's doing that, we're like, okay, this should be, maybe we need to do this, but I think I need to add this part here. I need to put something here because this doesn't flow right. I need to add something to that, or I need to take this away, or so we listen to it for that as well, and literally up to the last minute. So yeah, it's always a lot of creativity prior to, and then I think there's a lot of I guess you could call it spontaneity at the end there, because you're always just throwing stuff in and around and trying different things to where you're like, okay, yeah, now I really think it works, because we really don't know what it's going to sound like until we're listening to it and it's done, to be honest. It's like you have
Yeah.
like the song, the basics of the song from beginning to end, and you can listen to it and it sounds like a song, but the vocals aren't there, the solos aren't there. Where's everything going? What's Steve going to come up with his drumming? Like, he does some really super creative stuff. So, and
Mm.
all those elements, are what really makes the song, and where the vocals are lie, how the vocals are done, how the solos are going to sound, and where everything fits, and that could make or break a song, to be honest. So, yeah, luckily everything kind of worked out very well. So,
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that just because it must I imagine that must be one of the things that helps keep it fresh for you guys because I mean this is your 12th full length and what are we is it God, it was like 37, 38 years or something as a band all together
yeah, we'll
since
be
the very
40
very
years.
start.
That's a
Yeah.
28 will be being a band. Like, we started in 1988. So, and then
Mm.
I was with rigor mortis before that for a couple of years. So yeah, as of 88, or as of 28, it'll be 40 years officially for Immolation. And, yeah, it's hard to believe, to be honest, but we're still here, we're still going, and more than ever, we're still loving what we do. We're super excited about everything that we do, and I think as a unit, we're very close, we're tight, and we enjoy each other's company. We're on the road, so all that plays into it, which makes it a great experience. So every time we go out, we look forward to it. And, the music, the writing of the music can be challenging and sometimes frustrating, or, can be rough, but when it's all said and done, you know, like now when I sit and listen to the record, I'm like, wow, okay, all that, all that work was worth it, because I just love the way it came out. So it's good in the end. So having the new music, we get super excited about that now. So it's great.
Mm. And I can definitely hear you guys influence more and more with time. I think a lot of bands that have come out in this sort of newer wave, especially of like, it's interesting. It must be interesting for yourself too, because I hear a lot of echoes in like your guitar style, like especially the use, like a lot of the use of arpeggiation and the way that you use that with your riff writing. I've seen a lot of modern death metal bands only just sort of starting to pick that up and play with the sort of the dissonance side of death metal, which is something I think that you guys have been doing for a long time. What are your sorts? What are your sorts of thoughts, generally, observations on the current state of like the death metal scene in the US, New York in
I
particular?
think it's gotten, it's definitely come back around, so to speak.
Mm,
This music has its ups and downs, and we've been through pretty much all of it. But
mm,
the coolest part about the last few years is that, all the newer bands, a lot of these bands they're going down going back to kind of like the roots, where the early stuff that we got into and we're doing and into and enjoyed back then. Because, like, there's a lot more of the dark emotion, the atmosphere in the music now, that I think for many years was kind of lacking in a lot of ways, where it was
mm,
just about being brutal and aggressive and, and heavy, but there was not a lot of feeling and atmosphere and that dark aura. And I think a lot more of that has come back now, which is very cool. And that's what I like about, where the new stuff is heading.
mm. So for you, it's definitely like more around a lot of that use of say, because I think one of the things you guys do well that a lot of bands have sort of cottoned on to is actually sort of bring it back, kind of like in the obituary, jungle rot school of like you don't have to be hyper blasting all the time. You don't have to be Dominator from Dark Funeral doing 200 beats per hour, 200 beats per minute riffs just to be brutal. There's actually a lot you can do with the slower tempo. I feel like you guys have always utilized that to good effect. And I think throughout Descent, there's some moments where I was listening to it and it was some of the slower riffs that actually felt like, the gnarliest, the heaviest.
Yeah, absolutely. Like to me, I never really, I like it all. You know what I mean? Like I think we're all like that. We like the what do you want to call it? I guess like having a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? We like the
Mm,
variety. So uh, sometimes, and it's rare that we're creating a song that's just one speed all the way through or certain things. Sometimes you get there, but for the most part, there's a lot of highs and lows in the music, and it all comes down to what makes it work. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I'll start something off and then I'll just feel it goes in a certain direction. I just follow that. Kind of like with the song Descent, for instance. I wrote that knowing it was going to be the last song on the record, and it was like, you know, kind of came in. I had the one riff that it goes into first, and then I was like, I'd like to really kind of pep it up in the beginning. So I came up with this fast introduction, which was very cool, and then it just drops, and that whole kind of like groove that it goes through for a while just has a cool feel. And that became the main part of the song. Where initially I was thinking of writing a faster song, but once I came up with that riff, I was like, nah, this is the one that's going to drive the song. This is the one that has the feeling. This is the one that is, well, for me at the time was speaking to me like, yeah, this is the part. So now, and then I just designed it around that. But that song, like pretty much every song on the record, is up and down and all over the place. And when the aggression's needed, it's there, and then when it's not, we go with something else. It just depends on, there's a lot of times I don't know what direction it's going to go, and I just let it do its thing. Like
mm.
one of the songs on the record, "Bend Towards the Dark." I got to a point and it just drops, and I'm just like, all right, it's going to drop. Well, I got to go into something here, but I honestly didn't know which direction to go. So I just hit record. I let it drop. I was playing along. I dropped with it, and then I just went into the first thing I went into is exactly what you hear on the record. So it's like, it's just like a spontaneity thing where it's like I just start playing something, and then I start building as I'm playing it, and I'll just go for it, and then I'll get the idea, and then I'll start putting it together with the drums and everything. But yeah, so it's all by feeling. That's the only thing I could say. It's like we just go by how it feels and what works for the song, and sometimes just we let it lead us. you know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's criminal for me to say on a metal podcast of all things, but it's since spoken like a bassist, going by feel and going with the tempo dynamics and
Yeah.
stuff. All my lead guitarist mates are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you're just saying that because you play bass." But speaking of in that respect too with the album, because I know you guys did a lot of the production yourselves, the mix is sounding great. Like, just hitting those different sorts of tones between, like for instance, like the bass tone sounding quite like warm but also very full. I'd spoken to Clawfinger just yesterday, and they had Bard was talking about how they do a lot of their own production at home, and you guys do a lot of the similar. Is that the case? Like you guys are doing a lot of the
Not the real stuff. No, I just
yeah,
use when I write the songs. I write. I use my program Ableton Live. I use multi-track. I just create. That's with my creative tools. So
yeah,
for pre-production,
yep,
it's basically enough for me to send a song to Steve. He could hear the guitarist. He understands the breaks where there's maybe like a stop on the drums so I'll
mm,
do as much as I can on the computer just to give him the idea like this is going to break, it's going to roll into this, blah blah blah. This is the kind of beat I'm thinking of. But at least with that, that's his way to get it. And then I'll send him the tracks with just the guitars and the click, and then he goes understands where things are kind of going, and then he just totally creates his own stuff. With that being said, the real stuff when it comes to like the production, that goes to Zach Oren.
Zach, yeah,
That's Justin Pasamonte, who we recorded this one with. Um, that was a local friend of ours that we recorded the guitars, bass, and vocals with. And then Steve recorded the drums in Ohio with Noah Buchanan at Mercenary Studios. And then it all goes to Zach in California. We email it to him, and then he starts emailing us mixes. So we did get great sounds. We ended up using like our EVH heads, in the studio for the first time because we really didn't get those until after the last album was done. So I think having those in the studio was great. Just kind of went for a real simplistic sound, and in the studio didn't get too crazy, but it was probably one of the nicer sounds I've had in the studio, which which is good because I think Zach took that and then he did whatever he had to do. He does the reamping and other stuff too, but Zach is the one that creates all the magic and gets all that going. And what you're talking about, the real stuff, it's like
Mm.
we'll do stuff on the computers for pre-production. Steve does some stuff too to, say, okay, this is what I'm thinking for the drums, so we can hear what he's doing. But when it comes to the real stuff, that's those guys. All three of those guys are, take the credit for that. So
Yeah, awesome. And then that's the fun part about for you guys with the process. You get to go, here's my box of pre-produced stuff. I did the fun part. Now you deal with it.
yeah, and it's
You put a
it's
bit of
cool because
spit
they
and polish.
this time especially we didn't put too. I mean, we always have to put input in, but we didn't get
Yeah.
too over nitpicky. You know what I mean? Like we let Zach just do his thing, and then we make a couple of suggestions as far as like, okay, this part, so he understands like this part's more of a main part, so make that a little louder for the guitar or whatever, like an overlays and stuff like that. But we really didn't get too crazy. We let him do his thing, and just every mix that came in, even if you were thinking of something like, oh, I wonder if he's going to do this with the guitars, and then something will change, and you're like, yeah, well, he made it sound better. So yeah, like he's just listening to it and doing his own thing, and it just got better and better. And it was just like not that many mixes. He set the stuff, and we just had to fine tune a couple of songs as adding stuff to them and everything. But yeah, he did a phenomenal job, absolutely phenomenal.
Excellent, excellent. And look, it's a phenomenal job all round, and it comes out on the 10th, and I'm sure I'll be probably honestly just probably sick to death by the time because I've got an advanced copy, and I tell you what, it's just been circling, just constant rotation. It's a great album. I
Awesome. Glad you
really,
enjoyed it.
really, yeah, no, I really appreciate it. It's a fantastic album. So, look, I hope that you guys have a fantastic time on your run of upcoming tours. Um,
Thank you.
Quite a lot going on for you guys this year, and of course, I've got to sneak in the perennial fave question, being Australian and all. I'm recognizing all the things going on with the Strait of Hormuz and whatever the hell else, but short of worldwide catastrophe and warfare, is there any plans around touring Australia at all in the future?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, we're trying to figure that out right now. So it'll probably be either likely possibly toward the end of the year or definitely sometime next year for sure. So we're definitely gonna, we're already trying to figure that one out. So yeah, we definitely want to get back there, Australia, New Zealand, and probably Asia, stuff like that. But we're in the process. It's just things are, we just have to find out when the right time is for you guys down there to be ready for us. So so we'll see.
Sounds great, mate. Well, we're always ready. So everyone, the new album comes out on the 10th via Nuclear Blast Records, and my one piece of advice for everyone is to wear a chin strap or screw your jaw in because it's going to hit the floor. But that's no surprise either because it's an Immolation album. So there you go. There's my suck up to finish things
Thank you
off.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you
I
so much for
appreciate
your
it.
time, Bob. Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Take it
And
easy.
hopefully see you soon, hopefully.
Cheers, man.
All
See
right,
ya.
take care. Thank you.
Bye. Biggest of thanks to Bob Vigna and the team at Nuclear Blast Records. Descent will be out on the 10th, so that drops in a few days. Highly, highly recommend it. It's a brutal, blistering release, and you can expect nothing less from these New York death metal legends. After 37 years in the biz, they've still got it. So, highly recommended. If you would like to check out the show notes, which include pre-order details, album save details, streaming links, single links, all that good stuff, you can do so over at www.innerstrengthcheckpodcast.com/blog. But for now, this is me signing off, saying peace, love, and grindcore. Cheers, guys.